Hi there, Jordan from Science City here, and I've brought a great demo to share with you today. Now, we've got a lot of great science activities for home at kansascitystrong.org for you to participate in, but I thought I'd share something with you that you won't have the opportunity to do at home. Here in Science City here, although we're closed, we are excited to have you back in here for when we reopen again and hopefully get to share some of these great experiments that we do in Science City with you. Today, I'm going to share with you a chemical reaction called a combustion reaction. What is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is when you take one or more elements and you put them together and you make something new out of it. And in this case, with our combustion reaction, we get something new in the form of heat and light. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. There are three very important ingredients that we use for our combustion reaction. One of those things is all around us at all times. Can you guess what that is? It's oxygen. The air that we breathe in is part of this equation for our combustion reaction. Another thing that we need is an ignition source. In this case, I've got a fire starter here in my hand. All right, and that's our ignition source in this case. And the third thing that we need is a fuel source. In this case, I'm using what is called lycopodium powder. Lycopodium powder is a very dry spore that comes from a fern. So it's plant-based, but this plant base is also very flammable. So this is going to be our fuel source for our reaction here, a combustion reaction. Now, it's very important that we take proper safety precautions when we're doing our experiments. In this case, you'll notice I'm wearing something on my face. That's right, they're glasses. On my body, I've got a coat covering myself, and I've got gloves on my hands. This is why we take such excellent precautions, because we're going to be making some fire with our combustion reaction here. So I also brought a fire extinguisher to smother our flame if things get out of control. All right, so we've taken the proper safety precautions. Remember, don't try this experiment at home. All right, so I've got my ignition source here, and I've got a tube connected to it here. I'm going to add our fuel in there, our lycopodium powder. All right, I'm going to add it into the tube. Now, you'll notice I picked it up off the ground. It's very important to keep our ingredients separated for proper safety precautions until we need to make our reaction happen. And you'll see why it's very important, why it takes all three of these ingredients to make this combustion reaction. So I've got my lycopodium powder in my tube connected to my fire starter here, my ignition source. And if you will, help me count down, and then we'll see if we can create our combustion reaction. Ready? Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, let me get that readjusted. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. There we go. So we've got our combustion reaction when the fuel source mixes with the oxygen around us and gets ignited by our ignition source here. Now, you may ask yourself, why can't the lycopodium powder ignite on its own if it's so flammable? Why does it need the oxygen? And to demonstrate that, I brought a beaker out with the lycopodium powder down at the bottom. You may have trouble seeing it, but I've got a little bit in there that I'm shaking around. And I'm going to add some flame to this lycopodium powder. Now, what do you expect to happen when I add the flame here? Let's see. If you will, count down with me again. We'll get this started. Oh, got a little jam there. There we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Do you see a flame? You don't? Well, that's why, because there isn't one there. Our lycopodium powder needs the oxygen all around it because these tiny spores are so close together that they can't individually ignite unless they're spread out amongst the oxygen, like we had when we blew them through the tube and ignited them with our fuel source here, with our ignition source, here. Thank you for joining me for this demo. Remember, don't try this one at home, but there's lots more for you to check out at kansascitystrong.org. Thanks for joining me.